Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. I hope you like dragons. You're going to see a lot of them today. Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate's been out for a little while now, so we do have some cards from that set in the video today. Most of them are dragons, spoiler alert. Also, of course, there's a lot of players trying to build new Commander Dragon decks because of the new support for the tribe, and older cards are moving up too. On top of that, Double Masters 2022 previews are in full swing, and we're seeing some pretty ridiculous cards already. Things like Imperial Seal, Dockside Extortionist, who knows what else is coming out as I'm recording the video, and you are going to see some cards starting to go down in value because of these announcements. However, in these videos, we don't talk a lot about cards moving down in value unless they're cards that are either standard, pioneer, or modern legal. But later in the week, I am going to do a special edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch to talk about some of these cards that are going down in value due to the reveals. So keep that in mind if you're interested. Last week, I remember opening the video saying, well, it's a little bit of a slow week in the market. Things change pretty quickly. We're back to a $2 threshold. We're not going to talk about any card unless it's moving at least $2 up or down. And before we get started, just a fast reminder, if you go to FlipsideGaming.com, you can use the Heroes promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. Currently, you can pre-order Double Masters 2022 products. They also have Commander Legends products and a whole lot of other things on their website. Remember, if your order's over $100 or consists only of singles, shipping will be free in the United States. And whenever you use the Heroes promo code, it does support the channel, which is always appreciated. So thank you. And without any further ado, let's get into it. We'll begin, as we always do, with the Standard Legal Spotlight. This is where we look at the standard legal cards moving the most this week, and I only have two to talk about today. One is going down, one is going up. The one moving down is Cultivator Colossus. This is the one from Innistrad Double Feature. It's down $209 to $26.37. So this price is settling in closer to the price of the Innistrad Crimson Vow copy, not too surprising. It does get modern play, though. It's an Amulet Titan and 4-color Tamishi combo. It's also getting some increased commander play in 9 Fingers Keen decks. And the card moving up is a dragon. It is Old Gnawbone from Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. This is up $283 this week to $48.70. So this has been added to the list for Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate, but remember, the list is going back to its normal size. It is not the smaller list that we saw in New Capenna. So yes, there are going to be more copies of this entering the marketplace, but not in the same quantities compared to what we saw last time. On top of that, though, this is also getting reprinted in the Beetle and Grim Here Be Dragon Secret Lair. When it comes to gameplay, this has been a popular Commander card ever since it came out. It's now seeing more play, of course, because of Commander Legends. The main set and the Commander decks did bring a lot of Dragon support, like we mentioned in the opening, but there's also a lot of Treasure support there, too. This is found in the Dragon and Tiamat Commander builds. Both of those are seeing a lot more play now, obviously. And there are other Dragon Commanders that are gaining some momentum, too. You can find this in Commander builds around a new card from Commander Legends as well. That is Miram Sentinel Worm. That quickly takes us to the Pioneer Legal Spotlight. We have some cards going down in value, some moving up. First, we have Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. This is the copy from the list that was there for Zendikar Rising and Kaldheim. It goes down $2 to $43. You might remember this jumped last week, retracts this week. It is, however, seeing more Pioneer play now due to the meta shift that occurred when Winota Join Our Forces and Expressive Iteration were banned. In the format, you see this in Mono Green Ramp, Mono Green Stompy, and more. This is also in many different Commander builds, including Giada Font of Hope. Days Undoing, the copy from Magic Origins, goes down $208 to $14.69. Remember, this was added into the list with Crimson Vow, still there now as we move into Commander Legends. However, like I mentioned a moment ago, the list did get smaller for New Capenna. That led to a lot of extra copies of these cards going into circulation. Since that happened, this card's been losing value, and it also takes a hit from the banning of Expressive Iteration, although it was seeing less play in the meta even prior to that happening. In Pioneer, it is still kicking around, though, and is it as well as Dimir Thing in the Ice decks. Legacy, sometimes you see this in Jeskai Control, and this is in various Commander builds, too, like Quiza Augur of Agonies. Twilight Prophet, this is the one from Rivals of Ixalan. It goes down $249 this week to $21.42. Like the previous card, this has been in the list from Crimson Vow through Commander Legends, which includes New Capenna. The extra copies have made this go down quite a bit recently. It is getting more Commander play now, though, because of Commander Legends. It's a good upgrade to the Party Time Commander deck, and I have seen this in new builds around the front-facing Commander from there, Nalia de Arnis. Renata Called to the Hunt. This is the copy from the list, only there for Strixhaven. It goes down 273 this week to 358. This is retracting after some recent increases, mostly due to scarcity online. It is seeing more Commander playing now, though, and builds around some new cards from Commander Legends, like the combination of Lizelle, Vlaskith's Champion, and the background Master Chef, as well as Minsk and Boo Timeless Heroes. Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, down $314 to $55. Now, this has been retracting after some recent increases, but this is in the Pioneer Gruul ramp deck, and that has been doing very well recently in MTGO. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. It's also in Mono Green Stompy there. In Modern, you'll see this in Mono Green as well as Colorless Tron, sometimes Eldrazi Tron too. In Legacy, this is in Mono Green as well as Colorless Cloudpost, and this does get some play as a commander, plus it's part of the 99 of a number of builds, including Kozilek the Great Distortion. Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, that original Planar Chaos copy, goes down $357 to $41.91. Now, this is also dipping after some recent increases, but it is a card seeing more play now in this new Pioneer meta. It's in Rakdos Midrange, Rakdos Combo, and more there. Modern, it's in Yawgmoth, Mono Black Coffers, and more. Legacy, it's in Mono Black Depths, and in Vintage, you see this in combo shops. Plus, it is getting increased commander play in a few new builds like Tasha the Witch Queen, Merkle Lord of Bones, and Nine Fingers Keen. Last card moving down in this section is the original Hallowed Fountain from Dissension, down $388 this week to $34.91. Of course, Shocklands are all getting another reprint in Unfinity, but this does see a lot of play, as you can imagine. In Pioneer, it's in Azorius Control, Esper Greasefang, and more. Modern, it's in Elementals, Hammer Time, and much more there. Plus, it is a huge commander mana-based card. It's in lots of builds, like the Ur-Dragon, and it's in builds around new cards too, like Elminster. First card moving up is Terror of the Peaks. This is up 206 to 2611. Did I mention dragons are hot thanks to Commander Legends? This is in many commander builds, including the Ur-Dragon and Tiamat. Plus, this is in those new Miram Sentinel Worm builds too. Dragon Tempest, this is the copy from Commander 2017. Now, the other copies of this are moving up a little bit too. This one is moving the most right now, though, up 220 to 720. And this, of course, is a great dragon support card found in many builds, including the Ur-Dragon and Tiamat again. Plus, yup, you see this in Miram Sentinel Worm decks too in Commander. Last card in this section is Emrakul, the Promised End, up 619 this week to 59.74. So if you've been watching the Market Watch, you know that this has been losing value recently, but that is changing with the banning of Winnow to join our forces in Expressive Iteration. That Pioneer Gruul ramp deck that's doing well in MTGO does run this. It even came in first in a Pioneer Challenge last weekend. Plus, you do see this in Simic ramp there too. In Modern, it can show up in sideboards and also sometimes main decks. You see this in Elementals, 4-color Blink, Amulet Titan, and more. When it comes to the Commander, this is used as the Commander. It's also in the 99 of a number of builds, including Joda Archmage Eternal. That brings us to the Modern Legal Spotlight. Again, we have some cards going down, some going up. First, we have Liliana of the Veil from Ultimate Masters, down 301 to 76.90. So this spiked aggressively not too long ago, back when Luris of the Dream Den was banned in Modern. Once that card was out of the way, Liliana made a big comeback in the format. Now we are seeing a little retraction, which isn't unusual as things settle in. In Modern, this is in Jund, Mono Black Coffers, and more. This also gets Commander playing in Karth the Lion and other builds there. Ren and 6 from Modern Horizons, down 301 to 79.95. This was part of the list for Zendikar Rising and Keldheim. That's not the reason it's moving down now, though. It is because we know this card is being reprinted in Double Masters 2022. Sees a ton of play still, though. Modern, it's in Elementals, 4-color Blink, and much more. Vintage, sometimes you see this in Oath of Druids, and this does get some Commander play as well in Omnith Locus of Creation and other decks there. The original Future Sight copy of Tarmogoyf goes down 326 this week to 45.49. Now, this was part of the list just for Modern Horizons 2. It is a good candidate for a reprinting in Double Masters 2022. At time of recording, it has yet to be number crunched out. There's still one spot that it could fit into. We'll have to see. In Modern, this is in Jund, The Rock, Abzan Stoneblade. Vintage, you'll see this in Sultai Midrange and 4-color Standstill. It also gets a little Commander play too. Grave Pact. Now, this is that 10th edition copy. You might remember the last couple weeks it has been creeping up because it's been dry in the secondary market online. This week, more copies have entered the marketplace. Down it goes, 396 to 3104. Now, it is a solid Commander card, and it is seeing more play now in new builds too. For example, Baba Lysaga Night Witch. Exquisite Blood. This is the one from Avacyn Restored. It goes down 461 this week to 2147. This is another one of those cards that was put into the list with Crimson Vow and is still there now in Commander Legends. The extra copies, especially from New Capenna, have brought the price of this down, and it was also in the Welcome to Castle Dracula Secret Lair not too long ago. It is seeing some increased Commander play, though, and builds around a new card, Raphael Fiendish Savior. Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre, the Rise of the Eldrazi copy down 422 this week to 66.39. The Modern Masters 2015 copy down 528 to 61.91. This is another card that is getting a reprint in Double Masters 2022. That's why you're seeing these drops. It is a solid Commander card in a number of builds, though, including a new one again, Nira Wild Mage. Now we have some cards moving up. Avacyn, Angel of Hope. This is the copy from Double Masters, up 224 this week to 48.56. Solid Commander, also in the 99 of some builds, including Giada Font of Hope. And I've seen this in builds around a new card, Merkle, Lord of Bones. Time Sieve from Alara Reborn goes up 252 this week to 14.69. In Modern, this is an Asmo Food and Asmo Urza, and it's in a variety of Commander builds, including Tivit, Seller of Secrets. Mindbreak Trap is on the move again, up 258 this week to 27.15. Good Legacy sideboard card to deal with things like Storm. In Legacy, you see this in Mono Green Cloudpost, Goblins, sometimes Elves. In Vintage, it's in sideboards as well as main decks. You'll see this in Doomsday, Squee Hollowvine, and much more. I do think it is competitive Commander, though, that's pushing the price right now. Much like Legacy and Vintage, it is a format where combos tend to go off and players try to cast a lot of spells in one turn. Next, we have a card nobody was speculating on. This is Mystic Speculation, up 468 this week to 787. So this is seeing a lot more Commander play now and builds around a new card from Commander Legends again. It is Elminster. This repeatable scry effect is exactly what Elminster wants. Alright, last card in the section is Fervor from 6th edition. I was even debating whether I wanted to put this in the video, but I figured I might get some questions on it, so I threw it in here. In theory, it is going up $20.84 to $29.93. Is that real? No, there's some market manipulation hitting this card right now. It doesn't mean it's malicious market manipulation. Sometimes you'll have sellers that, if they know they're going to relist the card soon, instead of taking down their whole listing, they might just go ahead and raise the price to a really high price so they know nobody's going to order it. And that's all well and good, but it does throw off some of the financial data because all of a sudden you start seeing some really high asking prices show up. Other copies of this card are barely moving, but in this situation you have some inflated prices, and you also have just a lack of normal priced copies out there. Regardless though, nobody's paying this price for this. It does get a good amount of Commander play, however. It is sometimes in the Ur-Dragon, and I have seen this in builds around a new card too, Ragadraga Gorgut's Boss. That takes us to the Vintage Spotlight. This is where we talk about cards that see play in Legacy, Vintage, or cards that are just popular among collectors. Remember, in this section, at least for some of the cards, the prices you see on the screen might be more reminiscent of what you might see on a price tracking website, just simply because there's a lot of cards in these sections typically that don't see a lot of sales in any given week, and we do have to lean a little harder on asking price in those situations. Plus, when it comes to the older, more iconic Magic cards, the price you see on the screen might be somewhere in between the price of a high-grade raw and high-grade graded copy. Now, as always, if the prices you see are not lining up with what I'm seeing when it comes to recent sales, I will point that out. First, we have what seems like my new one per video. It's a basic land. This time it is the forest you see on the screen from Commander Anthology Volume 2. It is up 213 this week to 309. So we talk about this every week now. Some of these hard-to-find basic lands have been jumping a lot recently. Usually what happens is somebody decides they want to pick up a land for a deck or a couple decks. They buy them all at the same time, and the reasonably priced copies disappear immediately, leaving only higher priced copies, and that's why you get this weird inflation. That will last until more copies enter the marketplace at some point. Although, like I have been saying, we've been seeing so many of these recently, I do feel like in a lot of cases these are just copycat or follow-up buyouts. Next is Tolarian Academy. This is up 243 this week to 139.94. Good vintage card. It's in Paradoxical Outcome, aggro shops, and more. Snuff Out, the copy from Dual Decks Anthology, in theory going up 903 to 27.48. But again, I don't think people are paying 27.48 for this. It is another example of a particular copy of a card being dry online and having some high asking prices out there. Good card though. In Legacy, it's in Elves, Dimir Death Shadow, Dimir Ninjas. It's in a variety of Commander decks too, including Yuriko the Tiger Shadow, which is always popular. And this gets a lot of Pauper play too. Yawgmoth's Will from Urza Saga goes up $10.24 this week to $230.98. In Vintage, sometimes you'll see this in 4-color Tinker and Paradoxical Outcome. This gets some Commander play too in various decks. Mana Short from Unlimited goes up 11.34 this week to 61.33. Again, there's a lot of Unlimited cards that are on the move. Collectors are very interested in finding these in high grade. In fact, all the white border cards in this section today are from Unlimited, so I won't keep saying that. Just know when you see a white border card, it's from that set. Cockatrice, this is up 17.17 to 102.48. Yidwin Efreet, this is up $20.95 to $188.77. Winter Orb is up $22.49 to $234.99. Repentant Blacksmith, this is the one from Arabian Nights, up $23.35 to $87.50. Icy Manipulator, this is up $30.98 to $188.09. Nicol Bolas from Legends, up $43.06 to $287.25. Now this is another very old card that typically has a life of its own because collectors want them in high grade. But it is a famous dragon, so maybe this card is caught up in some of that dragon hype, or maybe it would have just jumped anyway this week no matter what. Fork goes up $45 to $250. Brain Geyser up $73.23 to $345.95. Word of Command up $74.13 to $444.12. Badlands up $95.94 to $799.89. City of Brass from Arabian Nights up $95.97 to $679.99. Diamond Valley up $144 to $989.99. Is that for real? Well, this price is closer to what you would expect to pay for a high-grade raw copy. One sold recently for about $980. Graded copies do go for more. There was a 10 that sold not too long ago for about $2,500, but those are very rare. Blessing is up $146.84 to $250, or is it? Well, this one looks like it's being manipulated a little bit. This is very inflated due to high asking prices. High-grade raws go for about $25. High-grade graded copies can break $100. Same thing here. Savannah Lions is up $216.30 in theory to $850. Is that real? No. High-grade raws sell for about $160 when you look at recent sales, which is down from not too long ago. I haven't seen any high-grade graded copies sell for a while, but when one does, it isn't going to get near this price. And the last card in this section is Mishra's Workshop, up $362.01 to $4,090. And yeah, that price does fall in between the value of a high-grade raw and a high-grade graded copy. And that brings us to the Commander Spotlight. So all the cards in this section are moving, at least in part because of the Commander, but there could be other drivers as well. Sometimes Commander might not even be the key driver, but I'll let you know as we go through. First we have Brawlin Sky Shark Rider. This is the copy from the list. It was only there for Kel time. It goes up $203 this week to $596. And this is seeing increased Commander play with a new legendary creature in background from Commander Legends. The creature is Val, Candlekeep Researcher from the main set. The background is from the Exit from Exile Commander deck. It's called Passionate Archaeologist. First card from the new set, Ancient Gold Dragon, up $204 to $15. Okay, let's take a moment first before we talk about this card to talk about Commander Legends values in general. Now, there are a few hot cards, mostly dragons, mostly mythics. We're going to talk more in a few moments about other cards. But overall, expected values of this set are pretty low. That means we're not seeing a lot of mass box openings. Some of these hot cards might get a little pricey because they could be hard to find in the short term anyway. Also, too, when you look long term, sets that are not popular, sets that get sandwiched in between other popular sets, they tend to take off in the future. I'll never forget when Cold Snap came out years and years ago. I bought a lot of Cold Snap. I liked this set. I thought some of the cards were really good. But the set kind of flopped, and I remember walking into my card store, and the owner was telling me he'd cut me this great deal on Cold Snap boxes. He was just trying to give them away. I didn't take it because I was kind of like, you know what? I got all the cards I need from the set. Should have done it. He was going to sell them for like $40 a box. I could have just kept them and sold them someday, because there are a lot of amazing cards in that set. But that's just one example. We see it happening over and over again. So don't forget about these sets that people don't like, because in the future, it could be a different story, even if there's just a handful of good cards there. When it comes to this card in particular, it is seeing a lot of Commander play. It's in the Ur-Dragon, Tiamat, Elminster, and many other builds old and new. Herald's Horn. Now, this is the copy from the Mind Flayers Commander deck, finding its price point. It's up $210 this week to $649. It was part of the list too recently from Kaldheim through Crimson Vow. It's not only in Commander builds around Captain Nagathrod. You see this in lots of decks there, including Dragon builds like the Ur-Dragon and Tiamat. It's also in those new Miram Sentinel Worm decks. Morphic Pool, this is the new Commander Legends copy. Again, trying to find its price point as it goes up $213 to $1050. Huge mana base card in Commander, as you know. It's a good upgrade to Mind Flayers. Also, you do see this in fresh builds around Captain Agathrod. Plus, it's in other new builds too, like Tasha the Witch Queen, Nine Fingers Keen, and John Irenicus Shattered One. Leviathan from the Dark goes up $228 this week to $1228. Now, this does not see much play to speak of, but we can't have an episode of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch without a card from the Dark, so here it is. There is continuing interest in cards from that set, even some that are not on the reserve list, like this one. Razorclaw Bear, this is up $260 to $53.83, a very old card that's yet to be reprinted. It is a hard-to-find bear in good condition online. This does show up in Ayula Queen Among Bears Commander builds, and there is more interest in that deck now because of the Bearscape reprint coming in the Pride Across the Multiverse Secret Lair. Sea of Clouds, again, the Commander Legends copy, trying to find its price. It's up $272 this week to $894. Like Morphic Pool, this is a huge Commander mana-based card in many decks. You see this in Elminster and much more. Pearl Medallion, and yeah, the medallions have been number crunched out of Double Masters 2022. This is the one from Commander 2014. It goes up $272 to $33.69. It is in a number of Commander builds, but the most popular one right now is Giada Font of Hope. It is also seeing increased Commander play now around Ellen Harbree's Busybody and the background Inspiring Leader. Rashida Scalebane, this is up $333 this week to $899. Now, this doesn't see that much play to speak of. However, whenever dragons get a push, this does move up. Although, I do think a lot of the movement is due to speculation more than anything. It is a reserve list card after all. But, as we've been talking, dragons did get a push in a big way. So there may be Commander players looking to pick this up either for defense, or occasionally this does show up in a Dragon Commander build as a way to gain life. Here's another one of these new Mythic Dragons, Ancient Brass Dragon, up $382 this week to $1797. Again, you're going to find this in the Dragon or Tiamat and Commander. And it's in other Commander builds too, old and new. Urza's Incubator. This is the one from Urza's Destiny this time, up $395 this week to $44.73. Popular card in Commander Tribal builds like the Dragon and Tiamat again. And it's in Miram Sentinel Worm decks too. Umbra Sphere Manifest, this is one of the Innistrad Crimson Vow set booster cards. It's up $4.25 this week to $20.45. Popular Commander, and those builds are seeing more play now because of some increased support for the strategy that came from Mind Flayers. And to some degree, also the main set as well of Commander Legends. This can also be a good upgrade to Mind Flayers, or good and fresh builds again around Captain Agathrod. Additionally, it's also showing up in new Commander builds around another card from there, paired with a background from that product as well. Zelix, Sanity Flare, and Haunted One. Here's one of the breakout cards from Commander Legends that could be pretty pricey in the future if not a lot of boxes are open. Displacer Kitten goes up $803 this week to $1677. Now, this is getting a good amount of Commander play. It's in a number of builds old and new, including Tasha the Witch Queen and Nira Wild Mage. Displacer Kitten and Nira can create an infinite combo for Storm if the Kitten is the only creature in the deck. In general, though, this is a great combo enabler, and it has caught the attention of a number of content creators this week, which of course could have led to even more eyes on the card. I have seen some trying to put this in some legacy and vintage builds too. We'll have to see if that catches on. Ancient Copper Dragon, another one of these new Mythic Dragons, up $10.31 this week to $60.48. This is already in a lot of Commander builds, old and new, including the Dragon and Tiamat again. And yep, this is also in Miram Sentinel Worm decks. You knew this had to be here. The Dragon from Commander 2017 only comes in foil. It goes up $10.64 this week to $78.95. Very popular Commander, especially now. It's also in the 99 of some builds too, like Tiamat. By now, of course, you know why this is going up in value. Also, it did get a Command Zone podcast mention this week too, which again could have brought some more attention to it. Okay, I promise, last dragon in this section. This is Ancient Silver Dragon, another one of these new Mythic Dragons. Up $14.16 this week to $29.92. And yup, you're seeing this in a lot of Commander builds old and new, including the Dragon, Tiamat, and Miram Sentinel Worm. And the last card in this section is Zerillin of the Claw of $14.43 to $33.92. Not a dragon itself, see what I did there? But of course, this is a big dragon support card. Getting more Commander play now in Miram Sentinel Worm builds. It is a reserve list card, so of course it doesn't take too much to make a jump. And gameplay interest, even if it is limited around cards like this, is usually followed up by speculation. And like I mentioned in last week's video, there was a Miram deck on the Game Nights episode of the Command Zone podcast last week running this. If there were people that didn't know about this card or forgot about it, That reminder could have brought a wider audience to the card. And that takes us to the premium spotlight. So every week I say this, but we can't talk about all the premium cards that are spiking or dipping. There's just so many all the time. But I like to pick just a few out to let you see what's happening in this part of the market. Now the ones I choose are typically moving because maybe they're getting more gameplay, maybe a preview card's pushing them, things like that. Things that could lead to more substantial growth. I try to avoid cards that are just being bought out, or cards that are just dry for the week and will most likely move back to their old value shortly. Much like the vintage section though, these cards don't necessarily see a lot of sales in any given week, so the price you see on the screen is going to be a little closer to what you might see on a price tracking website. But again, if that price is not matching up with true sales that I'm seeing, I'll point it out. This week I got 3 cards. The first is Yawgmoth's Will, the Judge foil. This is up 10.53 this week to 8.99.92. Is that for real? Well, I did see a high-grade raw copy of this sell for about $7.80 not too long ago. I haven't seen any high-grade graded copies sell for a while. When one does, it could get to this price or even pass it. The Ur-Dragon, this is the Kaleidoscope Killer Secret Lair copy. Again, only comes in foil. This is up $11.97 to $99.99. And yup, I have seen raw copies selling for this price in high grade. Actually, quite a few. It isn't the type of card you typically see graded. I have not seen any graded copies sell. And finally, we have one of these new Commander Legends dragons. This is Ancient Copper Dragon. The showcase copy up $14.74 to $57.50. The regular foils up $19.60 to $69.99. The borderless copy up $23.95 to $85.24. Foil borderless up $35.47 to $197.03. And the showcase foils up $87.27 to $149.98. Are these prices real? Well, guess what? For the most part, yeah, these prices are pretty legitimate, or at least very, very close when it comes to true sales. The one exception is the foil showcase copy. That one is a little higher compared to what I'm seeing when it comes to the sales. Again, these rare variations of good cards could become expensive in the future if not a lot of boxes are opened. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. Like I said at the opening of the video, stay tuned. There's going to be a special edition later this week where we talk about cards losing value because of the Double Masters 2022 reprints. And we're also going to do our regular Wednesday Top 10 Hot Cards of the Week video too. Join us for that one. Until next time though, stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon and have a great day.